right, so here, Tom, this is what you were wanting to talk about, and I mean, it's kind of a crazy story. Mufasa has rebounded a little bit,
Yeah.
but how much of that, honestly, if you think about it, is people showing up to see Sonic and it's sold out because Mufasa's hogging up all the screens?
That's
So they're
a
going
good
to see
point.
Mufasa. Because here's the thing, like usually when a movie like Sonic does well, it gets more theaters. That's not happening. Sonic only got
No.
8 new theaters. They have
No,
it on
Sonic
there?
and IMAX didn't get hardly any of
Yeah,
the.
Sonic's
Or
barely in
Sonic
any
and
premium
Nosferatu
seating.
didn't get any premiums for shit, hardly.
IMAX is flooded with Mufasa.
Yet Nosferatu and Sonic are outperforming Mufasa. Like, you're 100% right. I think between that, what you just said, the fact that over the holiday you had a bunch of kids probably going, "Let's go see Sonic," and Grandma
they wanted
would
to go see Sonic, but they
and
can't.
Grandma
So what do you do?
And well, not just either that, like you just said, they get there and it's already full, or Grandma goes, "What's a Sonic?" So they got to pick something that Grandma will watch, and she knows the Lion King, or half the girls in the group don't want to go see Sonic, so they want to go see Lion King.
Mufasa has the female audience, actually.
Exactly. That was what that, or because the boys are gonna, because the girls will want to go see Moana. I've been there. This is when we were younger, we went through this.
Most of them already seen it.
Exactly. The girls have either seen Moana or that's what they want to see, and the boys go, "I don't want to go see Moana. I want to see Sonic." So the compromise is a Lion King. But I think the bigger deal is, like you said, the other ones are being sold out. Plus, it's got all these premium screens. But if you look at the per theater average, Nosferatu and Sonic are doing much better. Sonic 3 is underperforming a tad, though. That's the thing. I don't know
is that
lack of screens.
Is that not because of the lack of screens? Because
I wonder.
Look at this. So it had a good week last week. Usually, when you have a good week, you get more screens. It only got 8, and you know why it only got 8? Because Disney is not giving up any of those screenings that they have.
No, Disney's paying for those screens.
Mufasa, Disney bullies theaters.
Well, it's not so much they pay for them, is that they're contractually obligated. And I talked to a theater owner about
keep
this.
It in those theaters,
and they were griping because she had a smaller theater and she only had like 4 screens or whatever it was, and she had one big screen and then 3 smaller ones. And she griped because Disney would always force her to keep whatever their big movie was in for so many weeks, even if something else was doing better. So, like, because I think one of the Despicable Me movies was out at the same time as one of the Wreck-It Ralphs, and she said, "I'm forced to have Wreck-It Ralph 2 in the big theater, even though there's 3 people in there right now watching it. But yet the Despicable Me movie is packed, and I could have sold more tickets. I had to turn people away because I didn't have enough seats." Right. So, like, that's the problem these people are stuck with. And then they can't always switch out theaters. Sometimes they can, she said, but for her, it was a pain in the ass because then she's got to move it from the one hard drive to the other, which is a big pain in the ass because it's all this licensing key deals and all this stuff. And it takes hours to do it sometimes, she said. And so, yeah, these guys have to deal with all this shit all the time. So, yeah, they can probably pull some movies to make up for it, but clearly they didn't have the room, or I think Sonic would have got more than 8 theaters.
Well, what can they do? Because all of these are all still making, like, this is a loaded box office. We haven't seen something like this.
Not like this in a while. No.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Nosferatu is doing a little bit better than they anticipated it to do too.
Wicked and Moana are still, like, that's crazy. Like, they still have 3,400 theaters.
Moana's doing better than it probably should be too.
And by the way, I'm on the record for saying I don't think Nosferatu was very good at all. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it. I can't defend
what
it.
the hell
I have to
that?
hear what you. Oh wow, are you real familiar with the original story? Or
I am, man. But here's the thing. It didn't work for this movie. Like
I don't know what you saw then. I really don't.
Me too. I think I saw the wrong movie because everyone's gushing about this movie now, and I watched it. I watched Nosferatu, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
I have spent
because it wasn't a horror film.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. I spent the better part of the last 4 or 5 months so deep into the original Nosferatu that I went in to see this and I was scared shitless they were going to something up. And I'm one of those people that thinks that people who clap at the end of a movie are fucking stupid. How would you compare it
to The Lighthouse and the other movie?
I like The Lighthouse though. I thought The Lighthouse was an amazing movie.
Tom, did you clap at the end of Nosferatu?
I was just going to get to that. I was like, because I'm one of those people who thinks that a movie, when people clap at a movie, it's stupid. Because I'm like, they can't hear you. Unless you're at like a screening with people who worked on it, that I can understand. But at the end of this movie, after that final shot, I wanted to jump up and scream and clap. I'm like, holy shit, he did it. I can't wait till Andre sees this. I guarantee you he's going to do some.
Wait. When you say final shot, you mean the way it ended?
Yes,
don't wanna
everything
hear
was
the ending.
perfect. I'm not saying anything about it, but like
I'm not either. I'm just gonna
I
say,
get it. There is some people who don't like it. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's a very dark,
an-
dour,
Seems like it's kind of artsy,
a little bit, but it's probably
which I don't
Eggers.
mind. I like artsy
Compared to his
movies
other
fine
films,
if-
it's his most commercial film, though. It's
it
comparable.
is his most commercial. I'll give you that.
I want to
it's
know
kind-
the spoiler. I
I
know.
don't wanna know it.
It's
Is it really scary?
no.
Okay.
That's the problem.
I guess it
All I
depends on
want to
yourself.
know.
I mean, no, look. There are a couple of jump scares. There are a couple of jump scares, but overall, I don't know.
I don't know. Eggers took every element, every kind of message and thing they were trying to say with the original film, and he amplified it here brilliantly, in my opinion.
It was more of a love story. Let's put it that way.
I wouldn't say that so much, but I get I kind of get where you're going with it, but
Yeah.
it's
How
not
is
the
Johnny Depp's
typical
daughter?
Dracula. She is actually amazing. In fact, I've said that it's kind of ironic that because Anya Taylor-Joy was supposed to play her part originally, I don't think she was going to be able to do this. And I think that's why they kind of played this story off that she had quote unquote, scheduling conflict. And even though, whatever happened, because she took the role and she is amazing in this. And I've seen her only do 2 or 3 things before.
What's a better movie, this or Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I was going to say
Bram
this is
Stoker.
comparable to that, but it depends on your taste. See,
It
to
should
me,
be comparable to it because it.
I like
rips
Bram
off
Stoker
Bram
way
well, no,
more.
in a
Dracula.
sense that it
Yes, it
it
does.
takes,
It totally does. That's why they got in trouble.
they didn't. Well, again, it's comparable in a sense that it takes it that seriously, right? Like it's taking it and it's amping it up to that level. Bram Stoker's Dracula leans a little bit more MTV than this does. This leans a little bit more into the.
I love that movie.
I
Dude,
love Bram Stoker's
okay, but
Dracula
Tom,
too.
Gary
Tom,
Oldman fucking
Tom,
just
Willem
rocked that movie.
Dafoe. Willem Dafoe was in a completely different movie, or at least he thought he was in this film, because whatever Willem Dafoe was doing in this movie had nothing to do with the movie. Like
Yeah,
he
it
was
did.
doing his own thing, right? Like there was this movie
What are
going
you
on,
talking about?
and Willem Dafoe was just there doing his own thing, right?
His
Like,
character does more in this than the original character does in the other movie, because all the original character does in the other movie is just literally restate what's in the book that Ellen reads. And that's the only thing he didn't do in this one, is have her read the book in this one. But I disagree with you there. He was great in this. Like, I thought this was pitch perfect. I thought they got everything right. They amped up all the elements and story elements that were in the original book. I'm trying to think of the word here. The themes and everything that the original movie had in it. It's not a straight adaptation of Dracula, and that's the misconception that everybody always has about it. They didn't go at it.
It's not Dracula. It's Nosferatu. I know the difference.
Well,
but
no, I know, but a lot of people think that they tried ripping off Dracula. That's not really what it was, and I recommend people check out our documentary on it, because Andre and I did a ton of research on it, and you had people that were involved in the occult who made the original movie, right? And it was also loosely based in part on this guy who claimed that his father was a vampire for real. So they took those elements out of it. And the movie is really what the whole theme is really about, is the Victorian era meeting medieval ideas and the Victorian science and the medical advances that they had at that point couldn't cure everything, but yet the old ways could. That's kind of the main theme of the film. And they took that and they just amplified it in this version, a lot like how Bram Stoker's Dracula did with Dracula, by bringing in the Vlad, the Impaler elements and stuff like that. But even Bram Stoker's Dracula turned around and kind of stole the ending of Nosferatu, because when they made that movie, they made it almost verbatim for the book, and the ending didn't work. The test audience hated Bram Stoker's Dracula because they didn't like the ending, because they wanted her to end up with Dracula, not Keanu Reeves. So they twisted the whole ending around to where it ended up being a bit more like Nosferatu, but people misconceive Nosferatu as a love story. It's not a love story. It's about her sacrifice is what it's about. It's about the old, blood sacrifices of the, of the old gods. That's kind of what it's about, in a way, meeting the modern world. What Count Orlok actually represents is the plague. He represents disease. He represents every bad and horrible thing, right? Like Dracula is more of a romantic kind of character. They just used a similar story to tell their vampire story. But
look, and I'll say, the cinematography was beautiful. I mean, it was amazing. I'll give it that. And I think everyone did a fairly good job of acting. I think that Nicholas Hoult did a really good job. There are things about the movie that's likable. The story itself, though, like I was kind of waiting for it to be over. I was like, okay, there's some nice scenes here and there, but it didn't really grab me. I don't know. I have a different take on it. I know Gary loved it. I know Chris liked it a lot. I wasn't feeling it, man.
All right, well, I'll let you know what I think when I see it, which probably won't be until next week. But I do want to see it, so that's like the one movie I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely say see it for yourself. I mean, definitely see it for yourself, and because everyone else seems to like it. Maybe I'm just the odd one out here, but
yeah, I watched Razor Fist video. He loved it too.
Yeah, so I mean, it might just be me. I just felt like it dragged quite a bit in a lot of areas, and the girl's acting was a little choppy. Like some scenes she was great, and some scenes I was like, "What are you doing?"
Was he gay like Lestat, kind of, or
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not.
Everyone's gay.
No, there's none of the like.
There's no gay vampires in this movie.
There's absolutely
in
no
that world.
Like,
they're all gay.
There's no diversity character that just pops up out of nowhere or anything like that. Like, yeah, no.
860 saying God for 20 says it must not be your cup of tea because this movie was remarkable. Where you're complaining of lack of scariness, I would say it is more of an intense feeling from start to end. Lily Rose Depp was surprisingly good, and everyone else.
I give you that, and
she
look,
got that acting ability from her daddy.
It is very graphic. It's a very graphic movie. So
people forget.
I don't know. I gave
Depp
it a 10 out of 10.
I'm not showing that Raging Rhino. See, Raging Rhino trying to get my channel in trouble all the time. Put that wild turkey down, son.
Everything's blurred. It's all right.
No. No. See, Rhino, one time he showed a penis.
It was unintentional.
Speaking of which, there is full frontal in this movie, so
it was unintentional. I didn't mean to send Flash that picture.
Wait, the vampire?
Yeah, you'll see Nosferatu's dick for sure.
Well, and Lily Rose, but anyhow,
brother?
Yeah.
Can vampires even have sex though? I mean, doesn't that work?
Depends.
Apparently they do. I guess
in the last 30, 40 years, that has become the more thing is to romanticize the vampire and make him and that kind of started with Bram Stoker's Dracula and Interview with the Vampire and stuff like that.
When the pretty vampires came into play, right?
Well, remember the entire plot of Van Helsing
Twilight.
Twilight
Dracula is out of here. We're not bringing Twilight into the conversation. Those aren't real vampires.
No, but when I say pretty, I mean like Interview with a Vampire and like all those movies where they have the pretty boy vampires. You know what I mean?
And look, there's some people who agree with Verbal, and I understand that this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's not. And that's fine. It's kind of like, it reminds me in a sense kind of how some people reacted to The Northman. You had some people going, the movie is boring and it doesn't have any action in it. And I watched the movie and I'm like, this movie is brutal. Like it's amazing. What are you guys talking about? So like, I get it. There's two ends of the spectrum when it comes to Eggers. So I can't argue with a lot of what Verbal's saying. Like if he feels that way personally, that's fine. Now I can argue all day objectively and subjectively about things in them.
Sure. Yeah. And
story wise, it works with the original story and all that kind of stuff. But like, if you're just not into that kind of film, because it is a very moody, creepy kind of film if you go in wanting something like that, you're going to be pleasantly surprised and you're going to enjoy it. If that's not what you're into, you're going to walk out feeling like Verbal probably did, just like I wasted 2 hours of my time basically. So yeah.
And it wasn't a total waste. I just didn't see what everyone was hyped up about. I was like there were some good things about it, but overall it just wasn't my thing.
All right. Well, since nobody else has seen it other than you two, we're going to move on from the Nosferatu debate. And summing up this Sonic thing, I don't think Sonic is going to get his due because there's no way to increase the amount of screens for him. I don't know how long that Disney deal does, but they've really kind of strong-armed their way into making this movie make money.
They usually do it for over a month.
I'm surprised that people even want to see this Mufasa movie at all.
I think you're right. It's benefiting more from overlap of people not being able to get into Sonic. Like I said, it's the compromise film of the holiday. A lot of people who are probably going to go see Sonic went and seen it already the weekend before when it had the bigger weekend. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
I just don't know who watches the Mufasa trailer and thinks to themselves, "Oh, this looks like it could be good."
Well, here's the thing: that over Christmas vacation, let's watch it, because boys tend to go to movies multiple times compared to girls. And what boys are going to go see Mufasa over and over again? Doubtful. I think Sonic is going to have the longer legs. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Xavier in the chat has it right. None of this shit has anything on Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. That definitely was the highlight for me.
Vagina? What?
Excuse me?
How did the first live action Lion King do?
The villain. First one did very well.
Amazingly at the box office.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get that either, because it does not hold a candle to the original.
It performed really well overseas.
I hate these live action Lion Kings. There's fucking CGI, number one. They're not even really like live action. Like literally just take the camera to a desert and let it.
Well, I've made that argument too. It's just it's not live action. It's just animation.
Well, and they all look alike. Like everything looks the same.
So with Mufasa, the only thing I'll give them just a touch bit of credit for is that they in the Lion King, like, they had no animation in their face, nothing. You couldn't tell what they were feeling. You could hear the actors, acting out these parts, and there was emotion in their voices, but it didn't come across on animals because animals can't emote. In Mufasa, there was a bit more emoting coming from the animals this time. So that's about it. And it wasn't much, but it was there. So that was something. But everything about Mufasa was terrible. The songs were forgettable. They're very slow as well. It was such a slog to get through. And the heel turn for Scar came out of nowhere. It was the dumbest thing as to why he hates Mufasa. I always say, like, if you want to know how Pride Rock was formed, how Scar got the name
Did Mufasa
Scar,
kill his
like,
parents?
you'll go and see Mufasa. Like, it's such a stupid movie. It's such a dumb movie. I didn't like it. I watched like a pirated version of it, and even that, I was just like, ugh, I have to pause.
Did
it because it was
Mufasa
so
kill
boring.
Scar's parents? Is that why?
No.
Wow, that's the first time they didn't use that one. They even did the puppies that way in Cruella, right? Like, it was the puppy's fault.